Hello, friends. You might remember during COVID, we made Word of the Day videos that we sent out, messages from me and others at the church that were meant to encourage you and I as we're going through this lockdown period that was very difficult. As we've thought about it, we thought it might be a great opportunity to continue doing things like that, to send various videos out that might help explain some things going on at the church, to be able to share stuff that's going on. For today's, I'd like to tell you about a decision that I made 15 years ago. It was one of those decisions, I'm sure you've done it as well, where you make it in the time and you feel like it was a good decision, but then you look back and you think, did I really pray about that, or did I just do what I wanted to do? The decision had to do with what do we call people on our staff who are functioning in the role of shepherding, pastoring, leading others. And so 15 years ago, I made a compromise with some people in the church who were uncomfortable with using the word pastor to describe people who were doing that job at Calvary other than me. And so I didn't pray about it. I didn't ask the Lord what He wanted. I just simply said, well, what if we just call people our pastoral staff and we use the adjective instead of the noun? That seemed to be an acceptable compromise. They were good with that. I was good with that. I didn't get it approved by the elders. We just simply implemented it and went forward with it. Well, about 2 years ago, the Lord began to convict me that that was one of those decisions that I made in good faith at the time, but really should have prayed about and asked the Lord what He wanted to do. And that looking back, I made that decision out of more of people-pleasing than out of trying to please the Lord. Well, as we revisited that, it became clear to me that the Lord had maybe some different ideas about what we should call people on our pastoral staff. And so I brought that up to the elders, and we began to study the scriptures and think through that together. What could we do? It seemed unkind to not give people on our staff a good title, a title that described who they are and what they're doing and the work that they're involved in. And so actually the elders, we spent probably 14 or 15 months working through this, talking through this. And where we ended up was with the Greek word diakonos. It's a very important word in the New Testament. And the interesting thing about this word is it's used of both men and women in the New Testament. And it gets translated a variety of ways, but two of the most important ways. It's either translated deacon in lots of cases or minister. Well, what we decided as elders was to use that one Greek word that describes men and women in the Bible who are doing ministry. We decided to use that word for people who are unpaid staff, who are working like that, and call them deacons, and to use the same word but use the translation of minister for people who are part of our paid staff, those who are involved in ministering and leading and shepherding and caring for our people. So I wanted to tell you about that. There's more information that you will find in our Calvary Life. We wrote something up that has more detail about that. It tells you about the New Testament passages that we used and some of the background to how we got to that, some of the things we did together as a church in studying this when we talked about women as deacons and those sorts of things. And I'd love for you to read that and look at that. But I just wanted to let you know that at Calvary, we are going forward going to be using the word minister to refer to those who are part of our pastoral staff who are doing the work of ministry. You'll probably see that maybe on the screens in the front. You may see that on people's business cards or titles. I just wanted to let you know that we were doing that. This was a way to align what we're doing, what we call people, more with how the Bible refers to people, and to make sure that we're giving people who are doing the work of the ministry words that the Bible uses to describe people who are doing that work. Please in no means take this to mean that we want people using formal titles or anything like that. I often tell people, Jesus went by Jesus, I'm going by Jim. We would prefer that you call us by our first names. Those are our names that we have been given and that we like to use. But it is also important to recognize that there are people among us who God has called to be ministers of the gospel. And so we're going to be using that title for them as ministers, just like we call people who function as deacons, and that collectively, both the deacons who are unpaid diakonoses, if you will, and ministers who are paid diakonoses, if you will, that all of us together serve under the authority of the male eldership here at Calvary Church. So I hope that's helpful for you. Just wanted to explain this as we do this and as you see this roll out so you'll understand it when it happens. Thanks for listening.